Ladies, unlock the cash value in your jewelry box. Sell your gold on Dale Road. We buy gold jewelry, bent or broken, at Eufaula Flea Market, 354 Dale Road.
Sell your gold on Dale Road. Sell your gold on Dale Road. Mr. Pond buys gold on Dale Road. Mr. Pond buys gold on Dale Road. Sell your gold on Dale Road. Sell your gold on Dale Road.
I'll call this meeting of the Eufaula City Council to order and ask Pastor L.C. Green as a Uchi Chapel to give our invocation. And please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father God, we come thanking you for leadership, thanking you for fellowship, thanking you for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We pray that everything that's done and said this day will be pleasing to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Powers. Not.
Present.
Bent.
Present.
Strong.
Present.
We've had the honors of recognition. Today the agenda has been distributed and presented. What are the wishes of the council regarding tonight's agenda?
Make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion carries unanimously. We have a consent agenda containing two items. It has the minutes of the City Council September 21st meeting and also the claims docket dated September 30th, 2015 in the amount of $20,691.50. What are the wishes of the council?
I'll make a motion of approval of the agenda. Consent agenda.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion carries unanimously. Mayor.
Just a few things this evening. Greg Calhoun from Harcow, Steve Harvey's business partner who purchased the Aladdin plant, we're here today, and just an update. They are moving rather swiftly, it looks like now, to get this plant up and rolling with the things that they got going on. So we're excited about that. Anyone that's interested in seeking employment there needs to apply at the Career Center here in Eufaula. They're talking as many as 300 jobs at some point, maybe even more. So we're excited about that. I also received notification last week from Merchant Capital that our Hampton Hotel project is proceeding. They have received a letter of credit from Ram Hotels, Ram Hospitality, I think it's called, and they have been approved, and they will be closing on those bonds within the next 2 weeks, I think. So they're financed and ready to go. So we'll probably see a groundbreaking before the end of the year. I think there's a resolution in your packet tonight allowing me to sign a letter which basically says that the bonds that they're getting have nothing to do with the city, or the city's not obligated in any way for those bonds. And finally, I had Joy write this down for me because it's a mouthful, but for the 19th straight year, Joy and her staff have been awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. For 19 years. I didn't think Joel was 19 years old, but we got a great person in Joy, and her staff do an excellent job. And 19 of anything is good. 19 in a row of anything is good in most cases. So congratulations to Joy and her staff and our city making us look good. So thank you, Joy. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mayor. We have Mr. Harry Perkins would like to address the council. Would you still like to address us?
Yes.
Please come forward.
Thank you very much for giving me the time to talk to you. My issue today was public safety. I'm sure y'all all are aware of it. This is my first exhibit. If you would take one and please pass it down. And these issues I've already addressed with most of you. And if anybody wants to see the exhibits, I have them here. Be glad to show them to you. Well, I'd rather read my statement. I'm not a good writer, and this is not directed toward any individual or business. It's directed to getting something done about it. It's considered public safety, and I'm going to just read my statement. Please consider local legislation discouraging riding on the outside of vehicles. The 15 pictures that were put in your packets were published to you because a local organization told me when I complained to them, if you got a safety complaint, you should put it in writing and file it. Well, this is how I file my complaints. I think something's been done about it, and I thank you for that. That was Exhibit 1, and there's 15 of them sent to you. Well, here's my complaint, and we need to do something about it. I've approached the police chief, the mayor, I've approached Kelly Traylor, state troopers, Alabama State Safety and Information representatives, even an insurance association. All have expressed their opinions, and now I'm approaching you. Why? Because this is your job as our legislators to protect the public. It only takes 3 of you to agree to get something done, and laws passed. Something as simple as an ordinance stating as, quote, it is illegal to ride on the outside of the passenger compartment of a vehicle going more than 10 miles an hour unless the passenger is properly belted and wearing a helmet. Unquote. That's something. Please consider local legislation discouraging riding on the outside of vehicles. As president of the Eufaula City Council, I hold you, Bob Powers, personally and professionally responsible for remedy of this issue. You're leading the way. And please don't wait for someone to get hurt or worse before you do something. If you look at these pictures, it's just waiting to happen. And here are some telling observations I made while talking with these professionals I've talked about. Cargo areas of a truck were designed to carry cargo, not protect people. 2, if you have an unsecured shovel in the back of a commercial vehicle, it'll cost you about $500 in fines. But if you have a bunch of folks back there and they're older than 15 years, it's all right. It's legal. Every one of those photos you see are legal. If you ask 100 people, 99 would disagree with you. What is good for the city should be good for the public as well. I believe the city's already taken action to stop this practice for themselves. I commend them for it. 20 years ago, we all did this. Every one of us used to ride in the back of the truck. But guess what? We've grown up. We know better to do something like that. It's irresponsible to do something like that now. As it stands right now, you can ride in the back, on the top, on the hood, on the side of a truck, on the tailgate. If you're over 15 years old, and it's legal. It don't seem right, but it is. And how would you like to be in charge of the company that allows this type of activity? Guess what? You are. Y'all are in charge. And I please beg you, do something about it before somebody gets hurt or worse. Are there any questions?
Yes, sir. Are you saying if I ride Mr. Cobb's inside the car, inside, say the front seat, it's illegal without a seatbelt?
Without a seatbelt.
But it's legal for me to ride Mr. Cobb's on the back of the car, on the hood, or on the top of the car?
Anywhere you want. If he's over 15 years old, front seat's the only requirement for a seatbelt, or under 15 or under. You can ride the back of the truck. Every one of those, you'll see people in picture in your exhibit 6, 11, 13, photograph number 56. People in there holding the merchandise down, but ain't nothing holding them down.
Now you're saying again, fellas, excuse me a minute. You're saying again, if I got a bale of hay on the back of the truck, I got to strap it down.
If you're a commercial vehicle, you have to strap it down, or it's unsecured load.
What did you? Oh, okay. I got to strap that bale of hay down. But I don't have to strap Mr. Carr down.
In your
Something not
personal,
right
in
there.
your personal pickup, you would not have to strap the bale of hay down. If you have a commercial vehicle, you would have to secure that load.
And it's legal.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your point is well taken, and safety is critical. Anyone who's followed good safety practices, and Mr. Cobb has, he'd never be caught in the back of the truck.
Without being strapped down?
Well, probably not in the passenger seat with the seatbelt with Mr. Night Driver. But anyway, but the point is, you're exactly right, Harry, and we'll look in to see what we can do in terms of encouraging safety, because there's a number of factors that come into play. If people can do certain things they want, they have certain liberties and to do activities, but at the same time, if it injures folks, and then that requires our rescue squad to go out to a site and address things. So we'll look at that, we'll follow up. I think it's a good point of safety.
I believe the city's already taken action.
The city has an internal, yeah, we have an internal policy. of
And
safety.
if it's good for the city, it'll be good for the public. In this area.
I don't know if everyone would want to be just like the city, but that's a good, in that area of safety, I agree with you. Thank you, Harry. Ordinances and resolution. We have resolution 102, 2015. This authorizes the mayor to execute and releases relating for repairs on the rails to trails. You have that in your packet. This release is discharging Dowdy Engineering, Everwood Treatment Company, and Goodwin Mills and Kaywood from any responsibility or liability due to premature deterioration of the original walking path system on the bridge. This probably came about because we had them accountable for the last part of it.
Yes,
And you've reviewed this?
yes, yes.
And
And
is this
it,
part of the agreement for them to do the improvements?
yes,
Okay, so when they paid to do all the work, which they've done substantial, I don't know if it's over 100,000 or what, we have that figure, but they've done substantial and improved that bridge and that walking area. So what this does is that from here on out, we can't go back on them because they fixed what was wrong. Is that, am I
Yes.
stating that correctly?
yes.
Have we addressed the fractures in the concrete?
I think what they did is they went and put a seal on it. I think Kelly and Sherry and the mayor went and looked at it. They went and put, what was it, Kelly, that they put on it?
Some sort of seal, but not
It
necessarily called. but some
actually looks
sort of
pretty
seal.
good, Jason.
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed when it cracked, but they went back and where they actually cut the expansion joints, and they put a piece in that, which is what they would have done anyhow, and then they sealed the whole thing, and you can barely see the cracks now.
Okay.
It actually looks pretty good.
Right, I had Sherry and Kelly and the mayor went by to look at it to make sure that it met their satisfaction as far as with the cracking that I think you brought to their attention, or somebody did.
I think it's fair to say that we're going to have wear and tear, and there's going to be in the future. We were reasonably stopped the last time was it was a structural problem, and I think that's what we're really approaching on that basis. If the council's pleased with where we are on that, what are the council's wishes regarding Resolution 102, 2015?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 102-2015.
Second.
Ms. Fleury, any questions or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. We have Resolution 103, 2015. This is declaring former Chief Ralph Connor's weapon as surplus. We've had practice when police officers retire that we designate that weapon as surplus and give that to him as a retirement recognition.
That was done in a little get-together for him the other day here. He was going to be out of town for the council meeting.
So you already gave it to him? So we don't have to worry about it. The mayor's going to pay for that? That's what you call when you make those command decisions, they can be private. Did they warn you on that, Mayor, that you'd have to pay for it if we hadn't done that? Does someone want to bail the mayor out on this?
I'd like a motion to bail out the mayor.
Second, to bail out the mayor.
While y'all bailing me out, I have some other things.
No,
I'm
just
stop
that.
in that motion.
I want to clarify, this is a ratification, and this is a practice we've already done. It's a little humorous, but you must, I hope you counted the votes beforehand, Mayor. But we have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 103, 2015. Any questions or discussion?
Eufaula Board of Trade, where you'll find the best value in our 3,600 square feet of uncluttered air-conditioned space. Eufaula Board of Trade, wonderful treasures that now have a second chance at 327 East Barber Street, featuring antiques, baby items, furniture that needs a new home, jewelry, collectibles, and books, plus much, much more. Open 7 days a week. Eufaula Board of Trade, 327 East Barber Street, where value and quality go hand in hand.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion carries unanimously. We have Resolution 106, 2015, which is approving our fiscal year 2016 budget, which started October 1st. We've had numerous meetings, the department heads have met, mayor's met with folks, the staff has met. We had a work session prior to this meeting to review the budget and talk about what it does and what it doesn't do. What are the wishes of the council regarding Resolution 106, 2015?
I'd like to make the motion that we accept Resolution 106, 2015, and I appreciate all the work that went into it.
Second. Mr. Knight, any further discussion, comments, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion carries unanimously. Next is approval of the bond issuance for RAM Eufaula Hospitality. This is, the mayor made reference to this, that tax revenue bonds are being issued for RAM Eufaula Hospitality. As you know, we are providing some tax incentives on that project once it's up and going and operating in accordance with our agreement. I don't think we have anything else to review of that, do we? We've already done all our reviews, so all they have to do is execute at this time, and what this authorizes the mayor to execute this letter acknowledging that there's bond issues, and if you've read the letter, it also says that we have no obligation to pay those bond issues back, and it's been reviewed by our city attorney.
Right.
What are the wishes of the council regarding Resolution 107, 2015?
Make a motion 107 that 2015 be approved, please.
Second.
Mr. Knight, any questions or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion carries unanimously. We have a couple of weed abatements. Resolution 104, 2015, Charles Lee Shade Sr. et al. Anyone here representing them? This has to do with property on South TV McCoo Boulevard. Anyone here representing Charles Lee Shade or the associates with him? What are the wishes of the council regarding Resolution 104, 2015 weed abatement?
Make a motion that we pass 104-2015 weed abate.
Second.
Second, Mr. Knight, any questions or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion carries. Another weed abatement, Resolution 105, 2015. This is Neil Guilford Walker. The property is located on St. Francis Road. Neil Guilford Walker, or a representative for them here? What are the wishes of the council regarding Resolution 105, 2015?
I make a motion that the resolution 105-2015 be adopted.
Second.
So, Mr. Cobb, any questions or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion carries unanimously. Item C, petition to vacate. This is a portion of Lakeview Drive, and that's the city attorney and anyone that will follow up if there's anyone here make comments other than the city attorney.
Okay, petition was filed to vacate this portion of Lakeview Drive. What it is a cul-de-sac that is in front of, that was never opened, never built, not improved. It's not a road, it's just a yard. Anyway, this is in front of Mr. Jim Bledsoe's house, and then also is adjoining a portion of Bob and Kaylee Dixon's house. It's Lot 2, Block B, in between, and the Lot 4, Block C of the St. Francis First Edition. Anyway, it's not used as a public way. It's never been opened. If it was opened, it would have to be maintained by the city. My recommendation is that unless there's, objection from the public, that the council approve it, subject to reimbursement of the advertising expenses that the city's paid, because it had to be advertised for 4 weeks, and then also for whatever the appraised value of that portion is, and then any other expenses associated with it.
We've done this in the past where we've, what's the legal term when we get rid of it?
Vacate it?
Vacate it, yeah, thank you, that's what it says right on here. Vacate property, if the city property, those are the practices that they pay for appraisal and those additional costs, since they're getting the property off of that. And there's some basis in state law that when we give property away, it has to be at some market value. Is there anyone here to address this, wants to make any comments regarding this, vacating this property? What are the wishes of the council?
I'll make a motion to take the city attorney's recommendation.
Second.
So we have a motion to accept the city attorney's recommendation, which is to vacate the property with the stipulations that we be reimbursed for marketing, have a fair market value on it, and the costs that were related to the city. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Okay. We have some council action unfinished. We have a new business application for Brickstone Burgers and Brews. Mr. Register was here before. Thank you for coming again. And once again, because this is legal issues that involve the city attorney and get into areas that beyond our professional expertise, I'll ask the city attorney to come and give us a review on this.
Okay, I spoke with the registrar's attorney, Mr. Collier Espy, who's their bankruptcy attorney. Anyway, this is, we could grant the application for the new business license with the consent to revoke the license of Legend Sports Cafe LLC for failure to pay sales taxes as required. And they stop doing business as Legends and submit a final return for Legends. And then Mr. Register accept personal responsibility for the taxes owed by Legends Sports Cafe LLC, with the final amount owed to be determined by the bankruptcy court and the amount paid through the bankruptcy court. Reopen as Brickstone Burgers and Brews as a restaurant only, since they don't have their current liquor license in this Brickstone Burgers and Brews sole proprietorship. And then go through, finalize the process for a new liquor license. Remain current on their bankruptcy payments for their old business and sales taxes for the new business, otherwise face a revocation of the new business license. The discussion that we had outside was they brought their application for the liquor license to City Hall this afternoon. And so the application for the new liquor license is not on the agenda right now, because it has not gone through the process of, we have our own process going through the police department and through staff review, and then the staff makes a recommendation to the city council. So that's left them with closing the business down or opening it back up as a, just serving tea and Coke and things like that without serving any liquor for the 2 weeks until the city council can meet again. One thing that Councilman Bennett mentioned while we were outside is whether or not the city council could vote to approve that liquor license subject to a approval by the staff review, since it's a liquor license that's already in existence for the same premises under another name.
We could waive our rules.
Well, right, you could waive your rule and you could go forward and grant that liquor license pending, as long as the staff review was approved. And then that would shorten the process, meaning they wouldn't have to come back before the city council in 2 weeks just to have that liquor license approved. And so that would be up to the council as to, kind of how y'all want to handle it.
Now, you've had, because one of the issues that, if you take note of, that we've had discussion in the finance committee on this under taxes, so just to be clear on this, is that the taxes under Legend, which are outstanding, are going to revert to your personal liability, which will also then fall under the court's review, and your payment will, and any taxes that are allocated through the court will then be collected and paid to the city. Is that your understanding? So we're clear on that. So that money's always one of the key things in every transaction. Now, the second part of this is that we can give you a business license, but we cannot give you a business license with your liquor license until the staff approves it. And one of the options you're proposing in discussion here, and I'll let you bring it up, but I just want to make sure everyone's clear as we go into this, is that we could move ahead with approval conditional on staff approval.
Correct.
And that would accelerate the process.
Correct.
And the reason we would do this, this is my thought, and y'all can counter or agree or disagree. The reason we do this is an existing business, been in operation in the community for a while. It's been part of the entertainment district, and so there has been revenue generated through its operation. It's part of our historic downtown, which is important for business and activities that draw people to the downtown area. So that would be part of the rationale in giving consideration to move forward with this condition. That's my thought. Now I'll turn it over to Mr. Bennett and let him.
Well, I think it's very important we maintain the downtown area. And as more restaurants and opportunities you have down there, more people are going to go there with the expectation of when I get there, I'll decide.
And you agree with this recommendation?
Yes. Yeah, I think as long as the council would have to vote unanimously to waive the requirement and also in favor of a good staff review, then yes. I mean, because this is an existing business. This is not a new person that's applying to open up a new business. They've already gone through the state of Alabama background checks and things like that. Those things have already been submitted to the city as okay. So this is the process of what they're having to go through in order to basically change into their name.
That's a question. How long would it take the staff to make that decision?
I don't know. I don't know how long. I don't know how long the staff review normally takes.
Shouldn't take long.
It's a matter of availability and get the paperwork
Right.
to each department, correct? So you're talking about anywhere from a day to a couple days?
Yes.
Is that a fair statement, Mayor?
I think so.
All right, let me I think the first thing we have to do is vote to waive the rules to bring this item to the council's attention. Do I have a motion to waive the rules?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Knight, second by Mr. Bennett. Take a roll call vote.
Ms. Flurry?
Yes.
Cobbs?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Knight?
Yes.
Powers?
Yes. Now, we'll Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we pass the liquor license based on staff approval and background check. Approval.
Let me clarify this. This would still have the stipulations that you've outlined
For the business
for
license.
the business license.
So you would,
Just think that the stipulations that she covered.
And yes, and we put that in there. Also, that's based on the approval of the business license, without a doubt. Can't have a liquor license without a business license.
Okay, well, that's what we're doing, is giving the business license at this time.
Second.
We have a second. Are we all clear? Any other
Yeah.
question? You want to review that for us, Courtney?
I mean,
just think it'd be good
basically
to
what
make
you're going to, the vote would be to approve the business license with the stipulations that I read just a moment ago. And then approve the liquor license subject to, and the staff review. Subject to the approval of the staff.
For us, it does not have to be unanimous with the council this week. We already did the unanimous on change, it just has to be a majority. So we'll just do, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, and the motion carries unanimously. So the ball's back in your court. What we want to do is, we want to give you consideration to move ahead with your business. We want you to be successful in it, and we want you to make sure you're successful so it helps the city government. So if you keep all those factors in mind going forward, I know that's a challenge with small business. So any other questions off of that?
They'll come to City Hall to fill out a form.
Yeah, you'd have to come to City Hall to do the form for the liquor
And
license.
get the process going.
So the sooner you do that, the sooner this process can start. Okay? I'd like to thank the city attorney and all the parties involved with helping make this work. I know it's complicated and you know it better than we do because you're going through it.
Is that a such thing as a brick stone burger?
There's gonna be.
All right. Fix me one, I'll be there.
All right.
Me too.
Finance, if y'all won't be talking about what you're gonna get there, go with your checkbooks and buy a lot. Council committee reports, finance.
Okay, I want to thank everybody for the hard work on the budget and the work session as well today, and the passage of the budget. Mayor, congratulations. You're on the hook for a punch. I would like to say that this year, it looks like it will come in, as we go forward, less than 0.5% as far as what we had budgeted, where we're going to arrive. It's pretty tight, so thank you for all the hard work that everybody did in that as well. And again, I'm going to give Joy and her staff the acclimate again for the certificate of achievement for financial reporting for 19 years in a row. And that's from it's not a public grant, it's actually from the government of financial officers from Canada and the USA. So, congratulations.
And I'd like to add off that, just as a clarification. What that means is that when you go into the city hall and you want to check, not necessarily that we're spending the money smartly, but you can track where we're spending the money. And the records are there, and the accountability is there. So whatever direction the department heads are given and what they have in their budget, whatever the mayor lays out, there's certain discretionary areas that come into play. Things change during the year. The tracking of that is at the highest level to receive that certificate. Second thing, there's only a handful of communities that have won it multiple times. So we're right there, and we probably ought, this probably should have been under honors and recognition, but anyway, it is something for us to take pride in what our people do.
Eufaula Glass and Construction Company, LLC, has been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Installed shower doors, mirrors, new windows, replacement windows, screens, storm windows, and doors. We build cloth awnings and aluminum canopies. Need a new storefront for your business? Call a company that can take care of all of your glass needs, including automotive glass. Located at 121 Inlet Road. Call 687-2471. Emergency after-hours service available.
And I'll add my thanks to that. Education, library, and zoning. We have our interim superintendent here. Mr. Beasley?
Yes, sir.
Comments about the school year? What's going on? How you got everything under control?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. and no one ever will, to be honest. Thank God. The main thing I want to do is two things. One, thank the city for that additional $100,000 check we got the other day. That is most appreciated. And secondly, just as kind of an update on some things that are going on, there's a lot of things on the table right now. And 2 days ago, I had black hair, one ball.
Wavy and-
Yeah, all that good stuff. But the things that are on the table, of course, have been well publicized. The athletic facilities, consideration of some additions there, and consideration of additions or renovations for career tech facilities, which is both of those together are pretty big financially and otherwise. So that 100,000 will help maybe at least pay the architect fees for some of that anyway. Then something that's been on the table for a while is Head Start. And I know that's something the city council is interested in. And we met back in the spring of the year, May the 9th, I believe it was, to have some dialogue about what would it take to bring Head Start under our umbrella. And personally, I think that's where it should be. But there are some things that have to happen before that happens. And we're meeting again this Thursday to continue that dialogue. Mr. Powers, I think, will be a part of that discussion. But we're excited about the prospects of bringing that group under our umbrella. It just kind of makes sense. We're in the education business. That's what we do, and that's what they do. So let's get everybody all under the same roof, which would be a pretty cool situation over there where we are. We just added a parents as teacher program, which goes all the way down. It's prenatal support for families, and it would be pretty sweet to go from prenatal all the way up through 5-year-olds as they leave us, and then go on to big school and kindergarten. So that's just a snippet of where we are right now. But again, thank you for
stepping in and taking that. I know you're more than capable. You've been in the system a long time. You've been a principal. You've been on staff. You have the confidence and the trust of all the parties. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been put in that position. And we're glad we have you, so they don't have to rush into making a decision for a new superintendent. Thank you, John. I'd like to add a couple points. When he was talking about the pre-K program, it's technically not under K through 12. It's not under the K through 12 system. It's actually under the Department of Children's Affairs now, Early Childhood Office of School Readiness. And Head Start is a federal program under a separate program. So that's part of the organizational issues that have to be overcome to make it happen. And as we've said at previous council meetings, we have Head Start over at TV McCoo School, and you look and see the facilities that we have in our Eufaula City schools. It's exceptional. So it would put that up. Just the environment and the facilities would enhance Head Start significantly, but the other additions with certified teachers and so on would help too.
One thing I would like to add, though, as we're looking at that, space becomes an issue. I made the statement to a former superintendent that we don't ever need to let space be a limiting factor, and maybe that is true, but at some point, we can't go past what we can afford.
Correct.
And so that's kind of where the discussion is centered right now. So.
And I'll follow up as we've given out reports that the results of the high-quality pre-K are significant, and what they do for internal costs within a school system, but also the external costs has been verified everywhere from within the state in the studies, but also Nobel laureates, Federal Reserve parties. When it's done with high quality, which is what we have in Eufaula, the results are significant. I want to add one other thing that separates Eufaula. And right now, I mentioned before that, we're running 60-70% of our 4-year-olds have access to the high-quality pre-K. The next closest system in the county is around 20% now. So we're still way ahead of most of the state in that context. The other area that's significant, and I just want to make a couple comments on this, we call it arts education. There's a big move. We keep talking about science, technology, engineering, and math, and they're important. Don't get me wrong, you have to have those. But the arts create in a student quite often a different desire and a different learning, particularly creativity and teamwork. And I want to read, this is from a state report that just came out, that arts education matters. And here's just one of the data points. 90% of the highest scoring schools on the ACT plan have high access to arts education. So 90% of those that score high on ACT have, the children in the school have access to arts education. 93% of the lowest scoring schools on the ACT plan have minimal to no access to the arts education. Now there's two factors there, art's a factor, but it also just shows how much the community supports the school system. Just a couple other points. Where you live makes a difference. 76% of the children living in rural Alabama have minimal to no access to arts education. 76%. 63% of the children living in urban areas have no access or minimal access. 48% of the children living in suburban areas, so you're talking about Homewood, around Huntsville, these are high income areas. 48% of the children living in the suburban areas have minimal to no access to arts education. And I've got some other data points. I asked John before the meeting tonight, and I already knew the answer because I knew he knew the answer. We have arts education. Arts education is not just art, it's music, it's choral, it's singing, that creativity. When do we start arts education in the Eufaula City School System, John?
We started from a state-funded perspective in kindergarten, but our pre-K kids have access to those things as well. 100% of our children have access to the arts and music. 100%.
That's a selling point. It costs to do that. So, when we can't give extra money out of our city budget, and if everyone is here listening to our city budget, know that we have other demands and needs to take care of our employees and operations, that it's tough for us to pull from those funds when we have our other jobs that we have to be responsible for. But my compliments to the school board, to the administrators, and to the citizens of Eufaula for paying the additional ad valorem taxes, supporting our school system, because that makes a difference. And we're on the way with all these programs and what we've been doing historically to having a first-class, high-quality school system across the board. When you throw in Lakeside, they're participating in some of these same efforts. It's a selling point for Eufaula and for people who want to have a place to educate their children. So that's a big marketing tool for us. So we need to go back to that. So that's my comment on education. Parks, Recreation, and Airport.
You got cut out the budget, so you wasn't here. Keith, you done a good job.
I know you'd have my back.
Thank you. You done a good job.
So we have a meeting coming up though soon, don't we? We have a meeting regarding the airport coming up, an engineering review, discussion on that. It's going to be, are you aware of that, Keith? Barswell, Wagner and Barswell? Or Bars?
Joyce handled that. She would.
At the airport,
She would
okay.
contact you, Keith.
I think it's Thursday. Street sanitation and cemetery.
Tim, you got anything?
I'd just like to let the council know we're going to have a pre-construction meeting Monday with our contractor, which is Wiregrass, for the city street project that we got approved, and probably within 2 to 3 weeks we'll be starting construction. And but I give y'all a follow-up after our pre-con meeting to get all the details.
Thank you. They're cutting grass and picking up trash, and Angie's doing a good job getting the litter. Yeah, if y'all see anybody littering, let us know. I don't know what we'll do, but
Well, we need to have some discussions, and we've started them at different times, but littering, which covers dumping and a whole range, but the departments responsible for littering really are the police department, fire department, and the building department. Sanitation, street department is to pick up the garbage, not to do the litter. So I know quite often we do that. I know you got horticulture involved with doing a good bit of that and that extra program. So we need to, we've talked in the past, and we've not done this, about coming up with a way where we can give a ticket or a fine that does not require jumping through a whole bunch of hoops. And it'd be nice if we could consummate that. Police, fire, and personnel. Any other business come before the council?
Motion with adjourn.
Ladies, unlock the cash value in your jewelry box. Sell your gold on Dale Road. We buy gold jewelry, bent or broken, at Eufaula Flea Market, 354 Dale Road.
Sell your gold on Dale Road. Sell your gold on Dale Road. Mr. Pond buys gold on Dale Road. Mr. Pond buys gold on Dale Road. Sell your gold on Dale Road. Sell your gold on Dale Road.